What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Dreams to Reality podcast, and today we've got a very, very special guest, and the work this guest is doing is something I really believe in and something I feel we need to see more of. So I want to introduce you to Penny. Penny is doing incredible work in the mental health space, really making a difference, talking around fear, anxiety. Let Penny explain it. Penny, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. So, where are we right now? This space. What do you do in this room?
This is you could say it's my office. It's probably a dining room. When I set it up, it was.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the view, so I turned it into an office overnight. As you
Overnight.
Can see. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go into a little bit more detail of how we met in a minute. But how would you explain what you do? Because I know you go into schools, colleges, you do different workshops around mental health. And as you can see, you're heavily into the creative space. So it's just for everybody at home. What do you do? How would you explain it?
Do you know what? I wish... I was actually talking to someone yesterday trying to do this. But basically, I'm just trying my best to raise awareness and offer support to people who not only struggle with mental health issues, but that just don't understand why they feel the way they do, why they can't act on certain desires and kind of, live to their fullest potential, if that is English, their full potential, or bring out their full potential. And that's because before I found out that I was struggling with mental health issues, these are the things that I struggled with, and it was really hard. So I just want to kind of...
You said before you struggled with mental health
before
issues.
I knew.
That's what I was going to say. So is awareness a big key? Is that something so some people may be going through something, some people may be struggling, but they might not actually be aware that, do you know what?
Exactly, that's the thing. That is a thing. So, it was 2 years ago that I found out I had ADHD, which is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. The combined type. So there's the attention deficit and the, hyperactivity. So, I found out that I had that, which it made so much sense. Like I knew that there were parts of my life that I struggled in and kind of had a weird attitude towards. Like I knew there was a better way that I could be seeing things and dealing with things, but I did have quite a traumatic childhood. So I knew that once I started to, slowly deal with that stuff, I would mature and be better at dealing with certain situations. So it was kind of like I felt a bit doomed until I was ready to, go back, which healing and going back to stuff in your past that you've kind of buried is really hard. So I avoided it. But I a couple of years ago found out that I had ADHD, which is
quite late to find out.
Yeah, I was 30. It answered a lot of some of the struggles that I thought I had to try to get over.
Like behavior, processing and...
Oh gosh, just everything. Like the way that I thought, even some of the things like I have... I'll go off on a tangent if I go that way.
No, carry on,
In a sec, I'll go into some of the symptoms. But when I found out, I realised that all the things that I was blaming myself for, like having low self-esteem and being really, really over-nervous in front of new people, I thought it was all vanity. I thought that I was struggling with vanity and I was trying to just not be vain and try to get my mindset out of that way of thinking. And when I realised that symptoms of ADHD are actually... social anxiety, normal anxiety, not normal, but like general anxiety and low self-esteem and overthinking and rejection sensitive dysphoria, it made me realize I'm not oversensitive and care so much about what other people think. My brain works different and I lock onto certain things and I read certain things wrong. So this is why I'm like this. I don't have to just grow up and get over it. And I actually have a brain that works different. My brain doesn't receive the same chemicals at the same time in the way that a neurotypical brain would. So it helped me to release a lot of guilt. It helped me to apologize to myself and forgive myself for being so hard and so annoyed at myself a lot because it was like.
So you was frustrated.
Oh yeah, because
was it frustrated at yourself or the fact that you struggled to say fit in or do some normal things?
All of that.
So for example, obviously when the work I do in schools, you see kids who have ADHD. And teachers will get on their case. And actually, maybe if we had better awareness or understanding of actually what's going through that student's mind and actually how they operate, then maybe we can start putting some strategies or some things in place to support them further instead of being bad, because psychologically they're gonna grow up and thinking they're bad and that they don't fit in and vice versa,
and that's how it comes across if you don't understand. Schools, teachers, schools, curriculums, they need to take on board how common a neurodiverse brain is, whether it's dyslexia, ADHD, autism. It's so common. It's not it can kind of disable parts of your life, but when it's managed right, it doesn't necessarily have to manifest as a disability or something that holds you back. If you have, if there are people around that understand it, then they work with you, and then you don't go down that spiral of, like you said, being condemned for stuff. I spoke to someone the other day, and my friend's daughter got a detention for fidgeting too much. She's got ADHD. Fidget too much. We can't keep still. Do you know what I mean? I fidget with my fidget. It's like a detention. So she doesn't have a clue what she's done wrong. In her mind, she's done nothing to distract anyone, nothing to bring, but she's being punished. It's mad. It's discouraging. And it, with a little bit of awareness, with teachers, even doctors and medical professionals, knowing more about ADHD, what it looks like in girls, what it looks like in adults, because people seem to know what it looks like in young boys.
That's true.
But in girls and adults, it manifests very differently. Yeah. So this needs to be talked about. It needs, because it's just, yes.
So we're going to get into a lot more detail of that soon. Let's go way back if possible. How was your childhood? Was it a hard time? You don't have to go into detail if you really don't want to. But obviously you said you had a hard time growing up. And a lot of people I work with, again, are in a similar position. Especially when I go into schools and I work with the pupil premium students, technically disadvantaged students statistically. And yeah, they're coming from foster care, they're coming from a wide range of different places, and some of those students are really not supported the way they need to be. But what advice or what did you go through, and how has it helped you be the person you are today? So big question right there. Couple questions there. But.
Yeah, and I've got ADHD, so I don't even remember what you started off with.
It's all right.
No, I'm joking. I do. So yeah, my childhood was very dysfunctional. My mum struggled in her childhood and younger years, and yeah, she lived quite a wild lifestyle. I went into foster care when I was 13 after we were evicted.
Wow.
Because bills weren't being paid. And yeah, it was meant to be temporary just until my mum got rehoused, but she died from a heroin overdose when I was 15. So I stayed in foster care. My foster carers were amazing. They literally adopted me and were just...
So you had the same foster parents the whole time?
Yeah, because I was 13, so it was only, a short time anyway. I think by not by law, but the process kind of goes when you're 16. If you're foster care, if you've stayed with the same one, you can then go into a hostel when you're 16. But my foster family are my family. They became my family, and yeah, I stayed. And but in the same, so during the same time,
can you remember being 13 and going into foster care? Talk to me. How was that like?
It was mad. I feel like I probably had a strength that I can't even imagine right now, because if you said to me right now that I had to go and live with a family that I didn't know, I would act very differently and feel very differently to how I felt then, and I was so young. So yeah, I feel like God just gave me a supernatural strength to just to fit in, and I did, and my family that I moved in with was so loving and so extraordinary compared to what I've heard about other people's experience. So I was very blessed.
Did it take you a while to trust them? as a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Going into a complete new household, already understanding your mum a little bit, understanding the lifestyle, and then obviously being split up from your mum. Was it hard to trust the system
fully,
and then trust other people?
Yeah, well, my social workers never stayed, and they felt like at first they were the one on my team because they dropped me off. But thankfully I didn't have to rely on them for long, because I realised quite early that this is a very welcoming, loving home. But I didn't believe that they loved me. So when my family would say, like, we love you, you've filled a gap in our lives as well, like...
That's really nice.
Yeah, it was. And now I think back, I just feel like I wish I could have believed it at the time. Like, I believe it now, obviously, but... At the time, I just couldn't believe it. I just thought it was like comforting words. And yeah, I loved the fact that they would go out of their way to say comforting words to me. But the kind of love that I had with my mum, that was what I just knew that, that was my version of love. I didn't have a dad.
Yeah.
So that was my version of love. And I just thought, there's no way you could love me. I'm not yours. Do you know what I mean? And probably because my own dad had rejected, being a father to me. So I thought, if my own dad, how can you love me, But they did. And they really showed it. And yeah, I was very blessed in that way. So that was that. While I was there, remembering your question, I met my first boyfriend my first proper boyfriend.
At the age of?
15. And
before your mum passed?
Well, actually, I met him when I was 14, yeah, but he became my boyfriend when I was 15, yeah, before my mum passed. And...
did you have contact
with my mum? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm diving into
no, it's okay.
I just think it's really important, because I think especially one thing we're trying to do is teach and encourage, and if people actually understand what you've been through, it makes all of this,
of course, go ahead.
It makes your story so much more powerful, because you've really flipping lived it.
Yeah.
You are a life coach, and there's a lot of life coaches out there who are unfortunately full of crap. So the fact that you've lived it, the fact that you're learning, the fact that you understand you're not the finished product, but you're going out there, you're pushing, it says a lot about you. So that's the reason why I'm really trying to dive into your story, because I think there's so many takeaways from it. So yeah, so from the age of 13 to 15, we'll get into your boyfriend in a minute, but you was in contact with your mum?
Yeah.
Seeing her often?
Yeah, of course. But like most days after school, okay. See her often. She would go missing every now and again, so like for a week I wouldn't hear from her, no one could contact her. But I didn't understand the lifestyle fully, so I didn't understand about
So what was what was your foster parents' relationship like with your mum?
Cool. My mum was so happy I was there.
Okay, that's good.
She was so happy I was there. But I would more, so she came to the house a few times and stuff, but I would more meet her after school.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? And also, I used to want to go out with my friends, and my foster carers were stricter. So I used to go and see my mum and then just say, oh yeah, I'm going to say that I was with you till 10. But really, I was, going out with my friends as well. So I liked going to see my mum and then going out to see my friends. And it was... a bit of a mix.
Yeah, so then you got your boyfriend, kind of met at 14, got together at 15. Why did you mention that? Has that played an impact for you?
Big time. So I met him just before my mum died, and not long after my mum died. So he didn't know that I was in foster care. He didn't know.
Wow.
Yeah, because I was so embarrassed by the foster care stigma.
Really? Wow.
I've always been an empathetic, sensitive person, so I would be really I'd really feel sorry for people at school that were in foster care, I would pity them. I would care and be loving, but there was also a pity. And because I didn't understand, I pictured children's homes where people were being abused. I didn't understand what foster care was. It sounds, what it's
look at the films you grew up on.
Exactly. So I weren't proud of it. I was, I didn't want anyone to know. And I thought it was temporary as well. So I didn't feel like I'd have to, explain my story. I thought that by the time he met my parents, I'll be back with my mum.
But even at some point, so even say when you left and you went to your foster parents and then your mum died, the 2-year gap, did you still in that 2 years believe that you was going to go back with your mum?
At some point, yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
but I knew that my mum was struggling, so I was planning to get us out. I was thinking, no, I'm gonna do this.
That's a lot of pressure
I'm gonna.
for a
It weren't. Do you
14-year-old
know what?
man.
It weren't even like pressure. It was just like a hope. Like I was just, I could see that the situation weren't improving. At the time.
You must have really loved your mum.
Oh, I was obsessed with her. I was obsessed with her because she was a single mum as well, and she'd been through so much when she was younger. So her heart and her compassion and the way she loved on me, and she had her issues, and she probably in some people's eyes weren't doing the best job at parenting, and but in regards to relationship and stuff like that. Yeah, she was like everything and more.
Because it's so easy and so quick to judge and be like, she had an overdose, she was 15 years old, you went into foster care at 13. But one thing I think you're mentioning, which I think is very, very important, is actually, do you know what? Your mum was still a human. Your mum still went through what she went through. Your mum still had ups, downs, heartache, breaks, literally everything,
And for a long time,
it's so
she hid it.
Yeah, it's so easy for us, and I'm to blame as well. Where you can say, Dad, Mum, whatever, you can point your finger and blame. But actually, if we look at the cycle of life and actually realize they've gone through their own trauma,
Exactly.
and sometimes you pass that on to your kids, and
A lot of the time.
it works like that. So when your mum died, how was that? Obviously, it couldn't have been good, but like, did that just like...
I didn't believe it. Yeah, so for a while, it didn't kick in. So there's no way. I just thought she goes missing sometimes. She doesn't... I just didn't process that it was real. So I didn't get the initial hit of like grief that some people do when they hear that. Because I was just like, my mum, no, she's so strong.
Who told you?
My foster mum.
Wow.
So I remember sitting there with her and she told me, and I looked at her and she was crying, and that made me cry. Like I cried because I saw her crying, and it made me cry to see her upset, but I did not believe or register. I just thought, and I had lots of dreams where I would see my mum and say, everyone thinks you're dead because you've gone missing for too long this time. Like I was having all these dreams, and I thought that they were like confirmation that she's not and stuff. But yeah. So the hit weren't as hard, and also with my boyfriend at the time. So with me blocking it out and like refusing to believe it, and like hoping for the best, and she's gonna pop up one day. Then it was like not long after that my boyfriend at the time, the one that I was telling you about, began to show very, very bad signs. Loads of red flags, some might say. He started to become abusive, controlling.
Over you?
Yeah, and those terms make it just sound like he had issues, which he obviously did. But he projected them onto me a lot. That lasted until I was 21.
Wow.
Yeah, so he started being abusive.
So you had the same boyfriend for like 6-7 years.
Yeah. And he started being abusive when I was 16, and up until I was 21.
So when you say abusive, right, what does that look like? Physical?
Yeah, physical.
Mental?
Everything. Like he was like kind of, he was young at the time as well. So
of
like
course.
I'm not here digging him out or anything like that. Like it's a past and it was
but what
a
did
long
that
time
do
ago.
for your self-worth? Like what did that do for your confidence? It's easy to say, why didn't you just say something? Why didn't you stick up for yourself? Why didn't you go and do this? It's easy for us to all judge. But why didn't you? What kind of space was you in? Because you have, from the age of 13 to 21, that's less than 10 years. And to think what you've been through in that 8 years, really, whatever, is a huge amount. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, and it's the important years that you need, it's the years that you're becoming an adult as well, like 13. And this is why I'm so passionate about trauma, and people getting it dealt with, because those, like, all of that contributed towards, like, basically me being how I am, like having the viewpoint that I did. Like I weren't able to trust people. He kind of brainwashed me and made me feel like small things were really bad, and
like you needed him probably and stuff.
Yeah, and you know what? The reason I did not put up with it, but in the beginning I I genuinely felt like I loved him. So it was just before my mum died. I'd been in foster care a little while. I weren't accepting the love of my foster family properly, and he was loving. And I remember being after my mum died. So I'd been with him for a while, but after my mum died, I remember hugging him with my eyes closed, and it felt like my mum.
Wow.
And I didn't have that physical touch with anyone. And me and my mum were very loving and affectionate. So I would do that a lot. I would hug him and close my eyes and just picture that it was my mum. And so it made me attached to him, and I used to write about it. It made me feel like, oh my gosh, he's the one. Like he's got the same feeling as my mum. But it was just the touch and the love.
And that was what you was missing.
That's what I missed, yeah, because my mum was so loving. So it was kind of like, yeah, I was realising what I missed. Do you know what I mean? I didn't focus on what I missed with my mum because I wanted to just go back. I didn't want to, do you know what I mean?
That's deep, like the element of touch, because I'd probably happily say it now, is that I probably didn't have that element of touch until I was 23 and until I met my wife. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so
because from the age of 11... my mum kicked me out just because I see my dad. So then I had my nan, but I was always my mum's little soldier, if that kind of makes sense. Yeah. Then I was thinking, why, do you know what I mean? I'm her boy. I had 2 older brothers. But yeah, when she kicked me out, obviously that whole kind of idea, why is she being nasty to me? When I lived in the house, I felt like I was being mistreated, all just because I seen my dad. And she was vile to me, absolutely nasty to me. So she left me with no choice, really. To the point that I just couldn't be with her anymore. It was just too kind of mentally draining as an 11-year-old boy. And then obviously I went through school, GCSEs, and my nan died when I was 16. That was my world, because she was like the new mum to me. And she was the one who always stuck up for me. Even against my dad, she was always the one who would stick up for me. And I loved that. And even though I'd hug my nan or whatever, but then I would say from that point until probably the age of 23, my whole relationship with females especially was off. Like even managers at work, I wouldn't listen. I would laugh at teachers if they were trying to shout at me. But really what I was doing is just putting off being loved or somebody actually caring for me. Yeah. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, because you're the fear of losing it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Well. So it's just like that whole element of touch. So like, yeah, at that time, okay, when you're introducing into girls and you're finally getting older, I was still block that kind of emotional barrier, and I'd be like, it would just be, it wasn't good. And you know what, just hearing what you just said, so what I was talking about with trauma and how that, because it's something that I'm really passionate about, as well as the ADHD, because I did have I got later diagnosed with CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which is the result of trauma. So, and it looks a bit like ADHD, the symptoms sometimes. How did that happen? How do you get
I weren't managing my ADHD anymore.
So and you go to the doctors and they tell you that?
Well, yeah, something bad happened, and it affected me so badly that loads of other stuff started coming up. And I spoke to someone and they said, you're suffering with trauma. So I went to see a psychologist again.
What age was that?
This was not long after ADHD, so about a year after. So So it took you into your 30s to really address... know what it was, yeah. But before just because I will forget what I was going to say. So with that, so like me, I talk a lot about how if trauma's dealt with and it's very healable, mental health issues would not either happen in some people or increase. But even what you were saying with your family, for instance, like the way your mum treated you were your mum's boy, and the way your mum treated you when you were seeing your dad. So obviously some trauma in your mum and dad's relationship that she didn't deal with, she projected onto you, but because you triggered her by seeing your dad. And vice
versa. So I was like I was being a tool.
Exactly.
In between the nasty kind of...
Exactly. So if that, and then it led to you having... So me looking back on my mum's life and realising that, she was so outgoing, she hid her lifestyle, or it weren't as bad, obviously it got worse. She was so outgoing, she was so loving, she was so helpful to everyone, and, and for her, she hid her trauma. She had trauma in her, a lot of really bad stuff happened in her childhood, and that she was dealing with, and rejection and stuff like that she hid. And she had children and she hid it, and the love of her children probably hid it. But then other bad things happened as she got older and she couldn't hide it anymore, and it got too bad. So her coping mechanisms of having a little drink became a drink ain't working no more. I used to do that when I was 20. Now I need to have a little this and a little that. And then, do you know what I'm saying? It's all undealt with trauma, and it's just heartbreaking that, you know, all people who suffer with trauma need when the traumas happen is attention, reassurance and comfort. Whether that's through therapy, whether that's through... When someone's gone through trauma, this is just my opinion, and from what I see, this is what I feel.
So you said...
There's obviously loads of professional practices in place to do these things, but when someone's gone through trauma, like I said, it's healable. Some mental health issues aren't. When someone's going through trauma, they just need attention, reassurance and comfort.
Wow.
Enough of that in the right way will get the effect of the trauma out. They will have definitely grieved or gone through something and experienced it, but the effects won't be affecting their everyday life if they have the right level of those things. But people don't. They don't want to tell people what they're struggling with. They're scared to come across weak. They're scared to say that small thing has affected them so badly. So they bury it. Or they just feel like they're weak. So they bury it. Next thing you know, you've got anxiety, depression. If you've got ADHD, it starts manifesting stronger and becoming hard to manage. You can have they're just a couple of things. And that can then lead to you isolating yourself, becoming lonely, becoming, misunderstood and judged, and suicidal thoughts. And on and on. This is how... trauma, if it's dealt with.
So let's go back a little bit. 21.
Yeah.
This boyfriend.
Tangent Terry.
No, that's fine. That's exactly what I want. Because that's, to be fair, that's absolutely the most perfect kind of way I want to deliver an interview or podcast or whatever. Is I don't just want to do from the beginning, tell me your story. Yeah. It's about going on those tangents.
Let me look at my bullet points.
Yeah, and then bringing it back to now. So I think what people will be asking, what happened at 21? Did you break up with this boyfriend? What?
Well, he went to prison for something not related to me.
Okay.
As in, he didn't go to prison for stuff he was doing to me. He went to prison, and it was then that I realised I hadn't grieved my mum. I'd realised when he was... So I thought that when he's gone out of my life, and I didn't know he was gone full time, I thought any minute he could come back. I started to see that I was a victim of domestic violence and abuse. I didn't know because I'd seen my mum have a few unhealthy relationships where a lot of fight and blood were involved.
So it's normal.
Well, I saw my mum have boyfriends like that. Yeah. So and this is my first proper
cycle of life.
Yeah, so I didn't realise. I knew that I felt bad and horrible, and I knew it got to a point where I didn't love him anymore and I didn't want to be with him, but I was too scared. But at one point, I forgot what I was going to say.
You're taking a picture, so why not smile?
Wait, hold on. What was I saying?
You're just saying about grieving your mum is the first time.
So then, when at 21 he was gone, when I got over the initial fear that any minute he could come back and take away my freedom again, when he actually got sentenced and I knew that he was gone from my life, I started to realise just how bad that was.
For you to think like that.
Yeah. So it was, and it made me realise what was going on, that no one else had relationships like this, that people that love you don't treat you like this.
It's not love.
Yeah, and also that that I hadn't grieved my mum, and I was more concerned with just him not doing the worst to me that day. Do you know? So yeah.
Did you start to fear that? Did you?
Yeah, because he
ticking time bomb.
Yeah, he stabbed me and everything.
Oh my God.
It was mad, but it was mad. But I thought that anything could happen.
So why did you put up with that?
I didn't want to...
Why do you think people put up with that?
Well, at first it was that love, and you think that, the possessiveness and the controlling ways and asking you where you are 20 million times a day and telling you can't hang around with this person, that person because they're bad for you. You think it's all love. You think it's all care. You think this person's there for you and cares for you. And it can look like that. But then... and then after a while, it became okay, I don't want to... My foster carers found out that I was seeing him, and they were like, he's not, he's not ideal for you. We don't approve.
So where was you living at 21?
Oh no, this was before I got... But
okay.
Because you asked me why people stay. Then it was a fear. I didn't want to tell my foster carers in case they kicked me out. And then so I didn't tell them that what was going on, or that I was still seeing him, because they disapproved. I didn't want to let them down, so I tried to hide it. And then I got my own flat at 18.
Okay, that's
so.
Right,
then he stayed with me in my flat for the last while. But yeah, it towards the end I couldn't wait. Like I didn't want to be with him anymore. I did at one point feel like I really loved him, but then I was just like aware that, you know, it's just a toxic relationship. It's not healthy. So I knew that I can't, you know, so it was just a matter of, I just don't know what's going to happen, like how I could. But then, one day I just got a phone call saying that he'd been arrested, and then,
wow,
that was it.
So he's out the picture, you know, he wasn't going to come back. And you said you just realised that you haven't grieved your mother. How did that whole process happen? Did you start to grieve? Did you start to kind of reflect on your life a little bit at 21, 22, 23? And was that a big shock for you? What was that whole kind of, where was your mind at in that time period?
Well, I started to really struggle with the fear of my ex coming back, and realising just what I'd been freed from, so then getting scared it would happen again. And it was then that, you know, I wanted a mum. Like I realised I don't have a mum. Like I don't have anyone to talk to or go to. And then it started hitting me, and then I started drinking and doing exactly what my mum did.
Wow.
Yeah, drinking and more. Yeah, so imagine how that felt to know that I'd lost not just my mum, but like my everything to something, and then I found myself in that pattern.
That's hard.
And it was at a late age. So
what age?
That I got in. Well, I was like dabbling with like bits and bobs from about just after she died.
Okay.
Because I couldn't feel anything, and my friends were kind of like, I went really numb and quiet and stuff. And then I used to find that when I was like, you know, smoking or whatever, I'd be bubbly, and I'd be able to feel and talk about what had happened. But in my normal frame of mind, I could never.
Do you think that was similar to your mum?
Yeah,
because you said she was outgoing.
I found out, you know, later after my mum had died that she used to do exactly what I used to do. So I used to go into any social situation and need to have a couple drinks beforehand, even if it's not a drinking situation. That's also a common for girls with ADHD because of the anxiety and the, you know, the hyper vigilance and stuff going into social situations. But also, and it was probably mainly that, but also I just felt, you know, with the loss and the stuff like that I just could not relax. I couldn't be myself. It was all relating to both things, the trauma and the ADHD, like trying to calm my ADHD, not understanding why my brain's racing and I'm overthinking in every social situation.
That's a lot, Penny.
But that's why I'm so, like, I'll keep saying about the trauma, because I had both, but they look similar. So CPTSD, not PTSD, C, you know, the complex bit. The symptoms look like ADHD and feel, you know, they're similar. So
how long did this drinking and drugs go on for? And did it get really bad?
Good few years. Yeah, not like I weren't like, you know.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like, you know, socially and whatever. But it was like I did need a drink to go into some normal situations at some point. Not need, but yeah, like if I was going to a dinner or a party, I would drink more than everyone and end up like just regretting it because I probably drank just to calm down to get to the situation.
I got you.
So when everyone starts on their second and third drink, I'm like...
Gone. Okay.
So it was, so it got to that.
So how would you explain your 20s? Let me ask you, how would you describe your from the age of 10 to the age of 20? How would you describe it in, say, like a sentence? Somebody asked you. It's quite a good question, I think, if I do say so myself.
The absolute opposite of what I'd want for my daughter.
Damn!
Apart from when I was 16, I gave my life to God and invited God into my life, and that saved and changed my life. and helped me deal with a lot of the rubbish that had to come after that. And I was 16.
Oh my
so apart from giving my life to Christ when I was 16,
apart from that,
yeah, and obviously there was nice little bits, but
I got you.
In general, the opposite of what I'd want for my daughter. If someone said, could you write a list of the things you don't want to happen to your daughter when you have one, that it would be all the stuff. I had eating disorders for it all as well, because the boyfriend I had was cheating on me, and I, assumed it was because of my body and appearance. So I developed eating disorders for it all.
What an incredible way to describe it. And I don't mean that in like, that's just crazy. But it's good that you recognize that, you spot that, and you're aware of that. So then how would you describe your 20s to your 30s?
Let me think. So I think it was a slow process to healing. So in a sentence, it is, I'd call it transition. No, maybe I was gaining a lot of experience and knowledge, basically. I believe it preparation. So it was horrible and hard, but there was also some bits that I wouldn't change for the world, because it's made me how I am. Like I'm so aware of certain things. I'm an empath anyway. I can put myself in people's shoes, emotionally easily. And now having personal experience in so many things, and every time I've struggled, I've gained something massive from it that I've been able to help other people with. So whether it be eating disorders, domestic violence, unhealthy relationships, grief, drugs, addiction, eating disorders, foster care.
Really a huge amount.
Yeah, it's all stuff that I went through. So I'm so grateful that I'm not a stain of the pain. Do you know what I mean? But I'm...
Because you quite easily could have been.
Yeah, no, I nearly was.
Yeah.
It was literally having a day, I think it was like a day after getting really mashed up with my friends, that I found a leaflet in my bag that had like an invitation to prayer on it. Someone must have given it to me. And I was thinking, if God, if you're there, I don't want to go the direction of my mum. I don't want to, I want it to be so different for me. And yeah.
Lord, give me a sign.
Literally, and that was it. I felt love for the first time on that bus, for the first time after reading that prayer since my mum died. So I knew, yeah, he's here. But I didn't know it was going to be all right. So everything felt worse than it did. But yeah, 20s were very, very,
that's crazy, man. I'm just trying to process just everything you've said, because I'm glad we dived into it, because it gives all of this so much more meaning. And already I've got more out of this interview than I could have ever expected.
I've never spoken in this way.
But you should be proud of yourself, man, like what you're doing. So even the fact why I say that is because the first time I met you was at that Be Inspired event.
Yeah. And
let's be honest, I hope you don't mind me sharing this, I could tell you was nervous.
No.
But I was looking at the job you had at hand, and I was like, God, I don't think I could do that. I'm okay talking what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
But then going to deliver something along those lines is a whole different ball game.
That's how I felt.
You were nervous and you smashed it. You really did smash it.
Thank you.
So to actually understand now what it meant for you to be on that stage and everything behind it says a huge amount more. And do you know what? I'm glad that you haven't shied away from it, and you actually, this is who I am.
That was the first time I've done anything like that.
Really?
Yeah, I've never done anything like that. So that was like...
Have you surprised yourself?
Yeah, like when I looked back on bits, and I was like, I'm so glad I don't look how I felt, because but I trust myself now. And
let me ask you a question. I hope you don't mind me saying this, right? But you said at the talk, after you seen my talk, what did you think of it?
No, amazing.
Right, so then you said, I appreciate that. So then you said, like, I would love to do what you do, even though you kind of already do it. But then you said you have cancelled talks before because you didn't have the confidence, or maybe you felt fear, especially if you was getting paid for it. Can you explain a little bit more around that, what you meant by it? Because we couldn't go into too much detail, because you was on and off the stage, so we couldn't really address that too much, which I thought to myself, that's like, what's going on?
Yeah, I don't know. There were times when, like, I would have crazy anxiety beforehand and just picture myself messing up, and I'm wise enough to know that it's all fear, and if someone's asked me to talk at an event, then it's because they see something in me. So I need to remember my affirmations. I'm better than I think. I'm capable. God is with me. Like I just would, speak life. But sometimes on the day it would be so bad that it would cause me to actually feel physically sick and start hearing ringing in my ears, and just would be, find it impossible to go. And then other times I would I've turned down things or said I'm busy, or I've double booked because I'm worried that I'm going to do it wrong and they're going to regret asking me, they're going to regret paying me. And it's I don't know, it's just something that I'm trying to get out of.
So what advice would you give yourself or somebody who was in a similar situation? So if somebody was sat in front of you, just said what you said, you're very clued up, you're very educated, and also you have your own experience. What advice would you give them?
I still feel like it sometimes, so I guess I would take this advice myself as well. One, your time is valuable. Do you know what I mean? So if are you talking about with the fear and
Yes, so all of it.
Your time is valuable, your story is valuable, and your impartation of giving your time and telling your story, and with the other ways you do it is going to change lives. Do you know what I mean? So,
and I think for me personally, one thing I had to understand is that, it's not an egotistical thing to stand up on stage and share your story. It may seem like that to some people, but what kind of helped me is actually understanding that what I'm doing is bigger than Cameron Parker.
Yeah.
As I said it, I think before, I'm the vehicle to go and deliver what I do. It doesn't matter whether I enjoy it or not sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm there to help.
Yeah.
Some people I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want to talk about yourself. And it's no, actually, it's not about you. It's about them.
Yeah.
If you understand, actually, anxiety and excitement, I don't know if you agree with me, but from my experience, I feel like they're so closely linked.
Yeah, they are.
So before being anxious, I used to get anxious, and somebody actually asked me before, they said, do you still get nervous before your talks? It don't matter where I am. As you know, I do this every day now. Primary school, prison, it doesn't matter. I always get nervous. But before, when I got nervous,
you would never think you get nervous.
But before, when I got nervous, I'd want to run out the building and never come back again.
Yeah.
When I get nervous now, I know that I'm ready.
Okay, yeah. So I think it's just going for it. There's been times where I've spoken at events and I've been nervous, and no joke, when I come off, I forget everything I said. I actually remember. I forget everything I said, and I actually realised that when I was looking into the crowd, I couldn't see anyone. My eyes almost went foggy, or I couldn't see anyone. And I think that's good, because I can get so sensitive to facial expressions and stuff that if someone
it's hard.
if someone possibly went like that, I would probably say, what did I say?
That's true.
So I think sometimes it's
but we naturally do that, so you naturally pick up the one bad negative facial expression when everybody else is on their seat buzzing. You're not going to get, unless it's your event, you're not going to get everybody on board, especially when you're in school. Sometimes you might have a kid that who's
and you know what? You can't read someone's emotions by their face.
No, you can't.
Everyone says to me, my concentrating face looks rude. So you can't. And I remember that. But also, with the things that I do struggle with and the nerves I get, that's what I do, similar to what you said. I just tell myself, away from my nerves. Before, because of all my issues and my eating disorders and stuff, I would never, I wanted to start a YouTube channel, uplifting YouTube channel ages ago, and I just had so many fear around it because of how people would receive me, what I looked like, if I'd be trolled and stuff like that. But when I had something that I needed to share, I just thought I don't even care about stuff like that. It's not about that. I want people need to hear it, and that's why for the past 2 years I have done practically almost everything I've done has been for free. I've done it in my free time, and in between work, gone to these events, because I kind of didn't realize that I could get paid. Do you know what I mean? At one point,
man.
And it weren't like I found out that I had ADHD, and I thought, what do people do to get paid from the, what happened was I found out I had ADHD and I had an urgent need to help other women that had felt how I've been feeling. So I wrote a blog post. And that's how it started.
That's
and
crazy.
I just did things that I would normally do. I write, I'm a writer. I've been journaling since I can remember. Went uni to study writing. So I am a writer. So in great Penny fashion, I just wrote a blog post to share with people so people could read it and be touched. And like when I found blog posts that helped me realize ADHD was definitely what I had, it helped so much. I just wanted to give that same relief. And then it led to, Mental Health Awareness Month. And I thought, let's do some video conversations. And then so I had to start a YouTube. So I ended up, do you know what I mean? I just went for help. I just went for it in any way.
Dope, man.
And asking people to share it so that
But you do know you can get paid for it, right?
I know now. I do now.
Do you know your value?
I know.
There's so many people out there with less experience, less education, and they're charging more than...
I just never been business minded. I've never thought like that. It's literally everything that I've done. Like even the creative stuff you can see. Like to help with my job, I'm a business development manager and selling on the phone. I would find that I couldn't concentrate and I'd like miss details, but I wouldn't really tell anyone because I didn't know I had ADHD. When I found out I had ADHD, and that means my brain searches for stimulation, even though I'm already stimulated, I started colouring in because I love colours. So I started colouring in whilst on calls. And that turned into me making positive affirmation cards.
Like this stuff?
Like that stuff, yeah. So
do you sell this stuff?
Yeah, on Etsy.
What's that?
Etsy's like
do you know what that is?
A handmade, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's so bad of me.
No, it ain't. It's like, handmade bits people make and sell.
And do you thrive off making stuff like this? Do you really enjoy it?
Yeah, I enjoy it because it's got affirmations on, so I'm speaking life into myself, and it's got the colours, so creating them feels good.
What's this?
That
literally, I love your workspace.
Thank you. That's actually my own memory jar. So last year, I would write down good things that happened so that at the end of the year, I could open it and be reminded of how good last year was, because I do forget.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I do forget. So anything good that happened, I'd just write, thank you, Lord, for this. I feel, and the funny thing is I didn't actually open it until quite recently. So it was like June when I actually opened it. I just couldn't be bothered the whole beginning of the year. When I opened it, it was so encouraging to see.
Why is this stuff important?
What, that?
Just doing stuff. Why is the positive affirmations? Why is this stuff? Why is it not only good for you? Why should people have this stuff in their lives? I know, I'm playing obviously, I know why, but I want people to know because it does make a flipping difference. It does.
These things prevent and improve your mental state.
Are you proud of yourself, Dave?
You proud of yourself?
He's really angry because Dave is a very great camera guy who owns his own company, and unfortunately for him, he's a good friend of mine, so he does a lot of favors for me. And when I told him 2 days ago that I was waking his ass up at 3:30 in the morning to come on the road to London, you can see his face for yourself.
It's full of joy.
Joy. Feel joy.
Yeah,
right?
I am filled with joy. But these things really help me. So everything that I do,
love you, Dave.
It starts off with something I want to do to help myself. So with the affirmation cards, I knew that during the anxiety, if I say certain words, I can calm myself down. If I remind myself, everything's going to be fine. God is with me. I've got nothing to be afraid of. I'm better than I think. Then it calms down my anxiety, because what you hear affects what you think, and what you think affects how you feel. So I would just speak life over myself. Damn. And then I started making them for other people and giving them to them. And then I started thinking, selling them.
So do you like visualization, affirmation and stuff like that?
Definitely. Write down, I write stuff down. You write the vision and make it plain. And I read it back, because you need to hear it. Writing it's great, but you need to read it and remember how you felt when you wrote it, the ideas, and speak them out. Let your ears hear. Let it sink in, My hands. But it's important. It's important.
And what's the outcome you're looking for with that?
So this will, doing this kind of stuff, it reaffirms you. It reminds you of who you are. Anxiety is just a lie that sneaks into your head, and you believe it.
Okay.
Whatever it is, like you're gonna fail. You've got reason to be scared. You're this, whatever. Or, anxiety, it starts with a lie. Man. Even if it's from a true event, like you've got anxiety because you're going to, go to break up a fight, which is the good anxiety to have. you know, if your anxiety gets, that's a crap example, but you know, if there's good anxiety you need to be safe and to be aware, but then if it goes too far and a lie creeps in, you can go off with it. So, you know, you're going to an event, it's right to be a bit nervous. There's going to be loads of people listening to you speak, but then you say to yourself that everyone's going to hate you and it's all lies based on low self-esteem or something, you know. So if you're speaking the truth over yourself and your ear hears it enough, your brain will take it in. And when you're feeling times where you're like, I'm not going to do this, I'm rubbish, you'll be like, no, wait, I'm better than I think. They asked me to come. I've got this. I'm more than capable. You'll remember things, and it's true stuff. So you need to be reminding yourself of it.
Yeah, like, and I don't know whether it's because it comes with time, and I feel like everything you have mentioned, even when I was at the Be Inspired event, when you think about it, I was the keynote speaker for that day. The pressure actually was like, we want you to do this and do that. And like the main crowd was people who have been in foster care. Yeah. I haven't been. I got my own story. I got my own experience. So straight away, I'm like, okay, there's only half kids, half are adults. It's foster care. I got Ashley down there. I got you there. I got all these other people watching me. So it's like, who do I really talk to? And how do I approach this? And am I the right person for the job? Like what you said. But now I feel like, I don't know whether it's because of time and experience, I close that down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And actually say, do you know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't care.
Yeah.
If say Ashley turns around and says he doesn't like me or doesn't like my talk, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take it personal.
Yeah.
And I think that's a healthy place to be in. Not saying like I don't care about what I'm doing, because I really do. But all I know is that I just can do my best.
Yeah.
As long as I know I can do my best and be myself, the outcome is going to be the outcome.
It might not suit everyone, but yeah, you called me to come, so I'll do. And if you don't call me again,
I'm just going to do my best, man.
Yeah, I'll carry on being me.
And I think that's so like really important for everybody. And I think we come at that stage in our lives. You know what? I don't really care. You're gonna have some people who are gonna hate on you. Yeah. You're gonna have some people who's gonna be negative. You're gonna have some people in schools who's gonna troll on you. It's a part of the process. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you can't always listen to the positive comments, and you can't always listen to the negative one. Just be neutral.
Yeah, you have to have your own opinion on yourself.
Stay on your own path or your own direction.
That's why, like, understanding. This is why I'm like, if I believed in myself and loved myself more than the opinions of others, I would have been, you know, I would have been set free from loads of rubbish ages ago. Wow. So understanding myself meant I had compassion towards myself, which then helped me to love myself, which then helped me to set the bar on how I deserve to be treated. Because, you know, when you love yourself, you respect yourself and you require that back. So it's like, you know, if someone wants to say something, you could be like, if someone wants to say, oh, you're absolutely rubbish at that, you'd be like, you're absolutely lying. Yeah. I know like myself, you know, and that's why, you know, the mental health awareness is so important. People could be struggling with something and they feel like I did. Oh, you're just so insecure. Oh, you're so scared of what people think. Oh, you're so awkward. No, you're struggling with something that you could manage if you knew how to. And then how about your potential would pop through? Like, and that alone, then you know, you understanding your brain and loving on your brain, like you said, with the not caring about other people's opinions and speaking life. It's all forms of self-care that lead to self-love. But then
I do care what people I care about.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I hate when people say, I just don't care. Yeah. Because most of the time you probably do care. Of course. But
outsiders that, you know, you don't, when it's someone close to you, you care because you know their perception. You know who they are. You know their heart. But if someone that you don't know, you don't even know if you've got the same taste. So if they might like a type of music that you would never listen to, but you're going to listen to them on their opinion on you. You're not even the same kind of person.
I remember I showed my dad one of my videos, right? And he said, I don't like it. I don't really think what you do has legs. It seems a bit preachy. I said, that's good that you don't like it, because thankfully you're not my target market.
Yeah. You're not my...
And then, like, do you know what I mean? Because it's true. He's not my target market.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to talk to you. 50-year-old, like, do you know what I'm saying? You're not the person I'm talking to. And that's what brings it back down to the work I'm doing in schools. So have you done much work in schools?
Yeah, I've done some mentoring sessions, workshops and talks.
You travelled much with it yet?
Not too far. But I went on the... actually, I have. I forgot this bit, but I did.
ADHD, eh?
Yeah, innit?
Oh.
Typical. I did the Childline and NSPC school tour with Maya Jama.
Oh wow, what's that?
Jama. It was for Mental Health Awareness Month, and she went round to different schools and was raising awareness. She was talking a lot about how to realise your dreams and her journey, and
that's amazing.
I was talking about mental health. There was another person talking about body positivity and other things. There was like
Where
just
did you go?
sharing
Where
there.
did you go? How
we
many
went
schools?
to Liverpool, Bristol, London. I can't remember.
Just
but it was
everywhere.
a week. Yeah.
1 week.
It was a week and it was really good. But yeah, it was really
You
good.
doing it again this year?
It was this year.
Or next year?
Yeah, probably.
Well, if you got,
Loads of them.
if you need,
It's actually ADHD Awareness Month next month.
if you need somebody
October.
else to come on that tour,
Innit?
let me know. I'll do
Exactly.
it. I'll be happy to do it.
Yeah, and it's like it's ADHD Awareness Month next month. So.
Okay, so you're gonna be doing a lot more work.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to be applying myself a lot more. Yeah, and I'm doing a lot of awareness stuff. Got some videos and conversations to raise awareness because ADHD also manifests itself differently in different people. So I've got lots of friends that are creative and have great manifestations of ADHD, but also different struggles to me. So I'm going to open up a few convos.
What are you scared of?
Sharks. What else?
We was talking about getting eaten by sharks earlier, actually.
Were you?
We said it's probably the worst thing you could do. Imagine being swam in the sea, getting your leg bit off by a shark.
Have you been watching Island? That new
No,
show?
I haven't. Just have your leg bit off by a shark and then have to wait to see if they like the taste of you or not to come and finish the job. Could you imagine?
Imagine.
I'd be gutted. I think I'd be actually upset if they didn't finish the
Little
job.
ego stroke
Oh, I know.
just before the last fight, though. Like,
What's
I'm
wrong with-
sweet.
What's wrong with the taste of me, man?
Innit?
Shit.
Left you also.
Anyway, what else are you scared of? Apart from sharks. How that came out of your mouth so quick. Sharks.
It's one of the only things I'm scared of. No, physically. What else am I scared of? I don't know. I don't know how to answer that. I'm scared of. Yeah, I guess I've had a few things happen recently which have made me feel scared of not being there for people enough within this mental health world. Like scared. I had somebody ask me for mental health advice at work, and then they committed suicide the next day.
Wow.
And so that kind of put a fear in me in regards to, you know, face to face. Like I kind of got scared of people that I actually knew, like because I was doing a lot of awareness online. I kind of felt like when it comes to people I know, I'm scared to not be enough. Do you know what I mean? So that, but I do feel like God's literally training me to learn that I can only help people help themselves. I can't fix them.
No, and
I think it's because I'm scared of people going through what my mum went through, which then led to me going through what I went through, that my children won't go through.
Is that why you're so passionate about the work you're doing?
If there was someone like me in my mum's life, then when she was younger, it wouldn't have happened.
It'd be a no-brainer.
It wouldn't have happened, yeah. But then she might not have had her kids, so who knows? I don't look back on it in that way, but I do know that, yeah, things would have been very different had she, you know, if there was someone like me around. So that's what I just want to do. But then I have to be careful because I can take things on a little bit too much because it's so personal. So it's just about me being trained in that. Yeah.
Somebody actually at the university, when I'd done the talks on the weekend, came up and asked, didn't they? Yeah. They said, how do you look after yourself as well as looking after others? So people's come up to them with severe mental health challenges, and basically then he's felt responsible to look after them, but he don't really know what to do, and he's taking on all this stress, all this pressure, and it's actually making him feel more negative, and it's like it's that loop. And I feel like it sometimes, especially when I go through my own problems, I go through my own battles and struggles. Do you know what I mean? Like if you obviously watch my content and stuff, like you know that I'm open about it. I'm a long way away where I need to be, not just professionally but personally.
It's always a journey.
And when I've then got 10, 20 kids messaging messaging me on Instagram saying, what should I do? It could be as small as, my boyfriend's broken up with me. How do I get over it? I'm heartbroken. I don't want to be here no more. Or like, it could be something a bit more serious, but you got to take it all serious.
It is serious.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You got to take it all serious because you don't really know what's happened. And there's been a few times when I've had to break confidentiality in Instagram and stuff like that, and gone to the school and said, this is what the students said to me. It's like, you need to like continue and pursue this. And the school's been very thankful for it, obviously for safeguarding reasons anyway. I keep everything what's been said, so it can't be hidden. But yeah, it's like, it's scary. And it happened to me, something similar to you. It wasn't just the next day, but somebody I used to worked with. I got no time hop on Facebook. Have you seen it from like messages from like 7 years ago? I remember I seen it the other day. I think I screenshotted it. He's wrote on my wall, get up, grind, start to grind, like all motivational stuff. And then I actually remember he reached out to me one summer and he's like, bro, I'm in a dark place, I need your help, do you think you can da-da-da? And I helped him the best way I can, but we wasn't really friends like that anymore. We've lived two separate lives. And then, literally probably about 3 months later, I heard that he killed himself. And straight away, I felt responsible. But then actually, I looked back and seen what was said, seen what was done. And it wasn't my responsibility to bring him out of that.
You feel like you had an opportunity to help them or prolong their decision or give them hope. But
then I look back at all the space I was in at that point, and how I felt. And do you know what? I was actually on the verge of an eating disorder. Well, had an eating disorder. Wow. I was into the gym and I was muscly at the time, but then I wanted to get abs and I did everything I could, so I just depleted myself. And then because I was training twice a day, really I was just getting skinnier and skinnier and skinnier. And I would go in and say, F this, and go to Sainsbury's and buy a whole box of Cocoa Pops and dairy milk bars, and then as soon as I'd eat it, I'd go back to my flat and I'd be sick because I've regretted it. Like, what have I done? I'm gonna get fat. At that time I didn't notice it. I had financial problems, I had all of this. It's not excuses, but I wasn't in a place to help. I wasn't. Even though I tried to offer as much guidance as I could.
And that's so important. Like, I've been told that a lot recently, like, just make sure you look after yourself. Get to a point where, because I found out I had ADHD, then literally straight away started blogging and then opened myself up to helping people. Then I wanted to help people more when I realized there were lots of people that wanted to, it went too far. I didn't put myself first. And that's why on the course that I do, there's a program I have, and it's about it's called 4 Weeks of Loving Your Brain.
That's literally what I was about to go to, actually.
Really?
I've just literally gone onto your Instagram because I've seen it. So tell us more a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically when I first found out I had ADHD, I learned everything I could learn at the time about it and how to manage it and how to decrease the intensity, so to speak, or, just manage the symptoms without medication.
Do you want to understand yourself and that wonderful brain of yours more? Do you feel like fear, negative thoughts, patterns, or past pains hold you back from being your best self? Do you find yourself stuck in patterns and cycles of procrastination or self-doubt? There's some strong things there, man. So guys, if you're interested in that, it's a 4 weeks of loving your brain, and I actually love the title. I love how I've not heard that before. So it's not just loving yourself, but it's loving your brain and actually controlling.
Because when you love someone, you want to understand them, don't you? Because you don't want anything they do to like annoy you to where your relationship don't work.
Nope.
So when you love yourself, you need to understand yourself first, so you can understand the things that you might not like about yourself, rather than hate yourself. Work on them like you would with someone else you love. So when you love someone, you understand them, and in the course, it's just it's like 4 weeks of learning how to manage, understand. So learn how to understand yourself, make some changes that will prevent mental health issues or, improve them.
So let me ask you a question, right?
Yeah.
Be honest.
Yeah.
What do you think to go into the doctors and what are they called, antidepressants? Do you think they're just given out willy-nilly?
Yeah, they're given out way too easy.
What's your opinion on it all? Talk your shit, Penny.
I don't think there's anything wrong with them. Like, if people are going through a time where they need,
Is it easy to become reliant on it?
It is.
Right, I'm going to rant a little bit. There's going to be about 5 different questions, but this is just a little bit. I think, one, because it's quite a personal subject to me, actually, I think, one, people become reliant on it. Two, it's easy to go to the doctors and they tell you that you're depressed. Whether that's right or wrong, I'm not saying that. But if soon as you think, oh, I've got depression, I think the way our minds work is you can even act more on that and you become more depressed. Kind of like what you said, you have to help yourself. But when you hear that, like, for example, when I found out I had dyslexia, straight away I thought I'm stupid. So I went on a bad downward loop and it was in my head I was justifying it because I got dyslexia. I'm stupid. I'm not going to pass uni. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. That was the false story.
You owned it.
Yeah. And I believed it. Because of that, it stopped
your own
me.
stigma.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm stupid, man. I'm out here, baby.
Just because you didn't understand what dyslexia was. So you were even judging yourself.
Of course. And I think, do you think that happens with depression? And what do you think to antidepressants and stuff like this? Because there's no doubt everything you're doing here are great tools and things that people could help.
But some people, a lot of people go to the doctors when they're at the end of their tether. So they don't necessarily know what to do to make themselves feel better, but they just try to brush it off, or maybe they might know a few little bits, like, you know, go for a walk or spend time with your family or speak life, but you have to commit to it. You have to commit to these things. And I think a lot of people because of mental health stigma, go to the doctors when they're at the end of their tether and they need the quick fix. Basically, there's not enough awareness about mental health. If there was more, people would know I don't feel good, and it's because of that. You know what? This could lead to, so let me start loving on myself a bit more. People don't think that. People don't, because they don't know. They don't know what mental health issues look like. They think, you know, they don't realize how bad trauma affects them. So when something bad in their life happens, they don't think about protecting themselves and trying to heal. They think about, I shouldn't be feeling like this, and putting a lid on it. And with depression, I think the medication, it's not good for, I don't know the science behind it, so don't quote me like all the details, but it's not good for ADHD brain depression tablets. There's something in them that is not good for the way the ADHD brain is made up.
Playing with chemicals, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
and we've already got enough chemical imbalance.
Yeah.
So basically, what I found is that a lot of people are getting misdiagnosed with getting misdiagnosed with depression or anxiety when in fact they have ADHD, and then years later they realise they've got ADHD because on the form, a form that is filled out, I mentioned this in the article that I've done, but the form, it says basically a list of questions that will decide how much depression you've got, and a list of questions that decide how much anxiety you've got. When you go to a mental analysis or a mental health clinic, this is the questions they ask. I tick high on all of those questions on a normal day because all of the things that they pointed out are symptoms of ADHD too. Now, if the doctor doesn't know much about ADHD, and they very rarely do, especially ADHD in adults, I would get slapped as severely depressed, severely anxious, and definitely given high medication that day if I wanted it.
Wow.
But if I knew how to manage my ADHD, then the manifestation of those symptoms wouldn't come up. Do you know what I mean? If you know, so it's a mad one.
One size fits all.
Sometimes, not saying everyone with depression has ADHD.
It's not the doctor's fault either. It's not we're saying because they're under pressure. They don't have the time. So it's like it's just something more needs to be done.
Well, it needs to be. They need to be trained. That there needs to be extra training. You don't just read. Not saying that this is. This is no reflection on doctors. I'm just saying a lot of doctors and medical professionals I've spoken to don't know anything about adult ADHD. I've been told by a medical professional that only boys under the age of 13 get it, whilst I had it. So that's mental. But so there's a lot more awareness that needs to be had. There's a lot of stigmas and false beliefs that only young boys get it, that the ways that it manifests, people don't know. So, even on the back of things like, people raising awareness, then I think doctors need a bit of extra training. You're not going to, all that stuff that you learn, I know that training can,
10 years ago,
but that you read from different. A book, things change, but personal experience, like there needs to be extra bits happening.
I've seen doctors go into Google though.
Yeah, straight.
So it's like, I think,
Definitely.
you know, you got 10, 15 minutes and that's it.
Yeah.
And you've got a big queue of people outside, then I feel for the doctors too.
They go out, let me just check something, and they're on their phone.
Yeah, and like, I've seen it, especially with the little baby I got now. I'm like, well, I'm not quite sure. Let me have a look on Google. And they've actually, you know, addressed it in front of me, which, do you know what, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough,
Exactly.
but it just shows that then, you know, that maybe there needs to be different doctors for different things.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
And there just needs to be, if people are going to go to their GP or go to, if you're a mental health clinic, if fair play if it's a GP and they can refer you to someone like an ADHD or autism specialist. But if you're going to a mental health clinic because you're struggling with your mental health, don't give me a form that only talks about anxiety and depression when there's symptoms of other conditions. Come on. You're going to give me medication for that and do what? That's going to
spit your shit,
it's
man.
going to fry my brain.
Holy
I don't
poo.
want it. But you know. So yeah, maybe I need to go into some hospitals and do 2-2 talks about ADHD awareness.
I think
And
you
let them know,
definitely
hi guys, you know, if anyone comes into your clinic saying this, that, this, can you stop saying they've got anxiety or depression and just giving them citalopram? Basically.
So, wow. How long are we in so far?
Hour 10?
Hour and 10. Let's change it up a little bit. Right.
Oh yeah, because you can edit things out, innit?
Well, we're not going to edit anything out.
Yeah, but this bit.
Nah, it don't matter.
No.
It's the truth. I'm just, because I'm not going to pretend that I'm not thinking about what you're saying.
Oh.
I'm not looking for the perfect interview. I'm looking like everything you have said today has hit hard.
Oh yeah, it's because you went into daydream mode. I thought you would just. Like,
Oh no, I wasn't. No, I wasn't. I was literally just. I was thinking to myself.
Thinking
I'm
out
thinking
loud.
like, how do I go? Like, I don't like.
I was like, you better edit this pause out. No,
I don't care.
I'm joking.
I don't think we edited one yet, have we? Not yet.
Good.
Actually, one person,
All
diva,
natural.
one diva guest was like, I don't like when I said that. Can you edit that out? So we did. But for me, I can't get my head around everything you're talking about, because if I'm being 100% honest with you, Penny, I wasn't expecting this interview.
Is it?
I wasn't expecting this.
What did you think was gonna?
I thought it was gonna be a stand. One of my.
Hi guys, this is how you make paper mache.
No, it wasn't like
And
that.
I got my
because-
pens out.
And maybe that's because I see the work you are doing and I know the work you are doing, but I didn't realise the story and how in depth it was behind it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to pretend to the camera that I got all the questions planned out, because I don't.
Yeah.
But I'm literally mind blown by everything you've said. Especially with the doctor stuff. I'm like, do you know what? Like, I didn't even think about half that stuff you just mentioned. Like, I got an opinion, but my opinion don't go as deep as your opinion. So that's why I'm like trying to like process it for myself. Like, that kind of makes sense. I'm terrible at processing my dyslexia and stuff like that, but I'm like, that actually makes a lot of sense. So what could you do? Actually, this is a question I want to ask you. What is the dream?
To change things. So I want to do everything I can to make I don't know how to word it. I want to change a curriculum. I want to change mental health in the workplace. I want to change the way doctors see mental health. I want to change, because the people that help us need to be able to help us. Teachers, medical professionals, your employers. You spend a lot of time in these places, school and work. You spend most of your life there. And I want to get to that point. I want to obviously help people to understand where they're, I want to free people. I want to heal people. I want to help people. But the way I think I want to do it is by starting with the people that, that are not responsible for us, but yeah, kind of. So workplaces, if you understand mental health in the workplace, if employers do, people can do their job in a better way. People can feel more appreciated at work. Systems can change so that people who work differently get to, and they can, shine and bring out their potential, not having to stick to a structure that doesn't suit their brain. Same with school. The curriculum needs to change so it suits neurodiverse children, so that they don't get to secondary school when they've been labelled disruptive and whatever else, and then have to struggle to build themselves back up and all that. Like, there needs to be a system where people can learn and be dealt with in a way that supports mental health, and not just like, we don't cater for mental health, because I know places that have actually said, mental health is not our business.
So,
but well-being is.
Of course it is.
I think people just need to be aware. I think if awareness is made, then people can see things and be more compassionate and understanding. And even people that don't understand themselves, they could receive that compassion from someone else. Someone could be acting up and I could say, I could notice why they're acting up and relate it to something that they never even thought of. A lot of that happens in my coaching.
So that's the dream.
Yeah.
What's the reality?
That is the dream and reality. Oh, wait, what's your company called, hun?
Dreams to reality. You know what I'm saying?
No, but that's the goal. The goal. The dream is to get a prime minister.
But like the subject you're talking about, like everything you're talking about, I'm gonna go away from this interview and be annoyed because I didn't ask certain questions. Because of everything you're covering, you've been one of the most honest people I've ever had on this podcast, without a doubt. We've only had one person. No, I'm joking. You're the first.
You're the second. So you're second. No. And the last person was a pathological liar.
Yeah. But like everything you have said is so deep, right? But let me go back a bit because I think it is an important subject, right? What is your relationships like now in general, especially with males after that? Or how was that after to build trust? Did it take ages?
Yeah, I not good. So, yeah, my relationships have never been, I don't know if the word's fully real, or I've never been able to fully be myself or fully understand why, what I want, or, yeah. I think a lot of them were just kind of like distractions to soothe the wound, kind of. So, the second boyfriend I had was just kind of, oh my gosh, nice people do exist. Yeah, I'm going to embrace this. It just didn't work like that. Well, no, we just didn't. It wasn't like we met each other, found out how compatible we were and thought great. It was just literally me just wanting to feel nice and have someone be lovely to me. So that was another, relation.
So was that trying to, like, as you said, was that kind of trying to find a way to love yourself? Or did religion teach you that, to kind of love yourself? Like how does that all work? What is the process of going through so much trauma? I know we talk about what we talked about earlier, but what is the process of would you say you truly love yourself now? Be honest.
Nearly. Yeah, I'm truly.
Can you ever truly love yourself?
Don't know. I hope so. But I do. I love myself. There's things about myself I don't like, but I can work on them. But I love myself. Yeah, I do. And I love myself. I honor myself. I respect myself. But I didn't used to.
Wow.
I never used to. So yeah, I do. I don't necessarily love every single thing about me, but I will. Like I work on them.
Are they things you can change?
Yeah, I'm changing. Yeah, or yeah.
But isn't that the process of life anyway?
Exactly. So when I said not fully, I actually meant because there's things I could improve.
It's the journey.
I love
myself.
The journey. I love myself. I know I deserve love, and but I just there's still room for improvement.
So let me ask you a question, right? I know you're very well connected anyway, but a big question I ask is, if you could sit down with any three people, dead or alive, celebrities, whatever, what three people would that be? To ask them anything you want.
What, I have to tell you what I'd ask?
No, just who would you want to sit down with and how and why?
Three. Jesus, just because he's the best.
That's not good enough. Why? Jesus.
I just want to give him a massive hug and say thank you. Just never let go.
For what?
Just saving me, for showing me what love is, for choosing me, for I could go on. Yeah, just for being for making me who I am, for save everything, rescued me, transformed my life. Don't, because I'll cry and I ain't on all that. Strong.
Right, so let me ask you a question.
So yeah,
right?
Jesus, I would just.
Let me ask you a question. Playing on the fence here. What if you saying Jesus saved you everything, which is amazing, but what if somebody didn't believe in Jesus?
I would.
And what would you say as a life coach? Because you can't just force religion down someone.
Oh yeah, no, and I don't.
So
I never
what would
in professionally?
Do you think you could have got to where you got to without God or Jesus?
I don't. No, because he turned my pain into purpose.
Pain into purpose.
He turned my pain into purpose. You know, he turned it around for the good, and it's through the love of the love that he imparted in me, that I was able to see the good in things, forgive people for hurting me. It was only through seeking him and time with him and relationship with him that I was able to see the good side and have hope. I was in a really low place, and I was numb, and the moment I invited him, I felt it. I felt something enter my stomach, fill me with butterflies. I felt like my mum was there. I felt like no grief had happened. You can't make that up. I couldn't even do it with drugs or nothing. So that's my personal.
So no, that's fine.
Yeah,
but I'm playing obviously on the fence
so
here.
on that,
it doesn't matter what anybody ever told you. God isn't real. Religion's not real. Jesus is all a lie, because some people do.
Yeah.
You can say, listen, it don't matter what you say.
1,000,000%.
I know what I feel.
There is nothing anyone can say.
That's amazing, actually.
Nothing. I know what I know. I've felt it. I've experienced him. I have a relationship with him. There is nothing. There is nothing you could give me or say that will take that away.
That's strong, man, isn't it? That's strong.
Yeah, like the same way you know your wife is your wife. Yeah. The same way I know the Lord's my saviour. Same way. There is nothing anyone can say to change that.
So back to my original question.
Yeah, but in a way, if someone doesn't have that, and I understand fully, because I couldn't understand I couldn't understand humans loving me, let alone an invisible God. Do you know what I mean? So I get it. I get that. And if that is, then I would just like that. The other things that got you through were the things he gave me. So hope. So go on. Hope, love, having love around you, self-belief, reassurance, comfort. These are all the things he gave me. So if you do have that thing where in your head 100% God isn't real, one, maybe ask, if you're real, can you reveal yourself to me, Lord?
See, like for me,
but if not, then seek these things, because these are the things that I got from him. So yeah, all those things.
So for me,
and he sent it in different forms, through people, through books, through this, all the things. But yeah, just you can get through it. You got to believe in yourself. You got to learn to give and receive love. You've got to learn to receive in general. People that have gone through what I've been through don't know. We get stuck in not knowing how to receive, feeling like you're so low in society because all you know is turmoil and all you know is suffering. So you don't feel like you deserve happiness because you've never had it. You're always constantly fighting one thing after another. So when you don't know something, you don't know it's for you, or you feel like only together people are happy. So yeah, you got to believe. You got to get some faith.
Religion's a fascinating one, though. Like for me, I went through.
I'm not as
religious.
Yeah, it's not that I'm not religious, because obviously Christianity. I'm a Christian, but I don't. It's not. I'm not like I follow a religion. No,
that's a good point. So like, for example, let me explain my situation.
But I'm a born again Christian, but I'm following a Christian. I want to follow Jesus. Obviously, I'm not perfect. I've done my naughty, and I'm still not perfect. But that's the goal, the relationship with him. So it's not like I follow a religion. It's just it's different for everyone. Do you know what I mean? Because we're all different. He'll deal with us all differently. So my relationship with him is what has changed, not religion. You get me? Don't get too serious now, okay? Chill out.
No, but
I'm joking.
It is a fascinating one.
I'm starting to get awkward, so I have to relax. Not awkward, but...
No, because like for me, like you might be able to explain it for me, because I'm a bit lost with it all. Because for me, growing up, I always believed in a God. I'd pray before I go to bed. Nothing to do with my family. It's just something I'd done, right? And then I was in uni. I got quite a few friends who... I've never really believed in religion, but I've always believed in God. Similar, maybe like what...
Yeah.
So with that said, then I had a few of my Muslim friends who tried to give me the Quran and also the biography or the autobiography of Prophet Muhammad. Yeah. So they said, read this. Obviously, it's in their duty to try and, share their good. So I was like, okay, I read it. And if I'm being completely honest, I didn't believe or agree with much things in there. I respect it, and there's good bits and there's bad bits, and that's what I thought about it. So I said to him, listen, and then I started to look into other religions, and I started to question it. Then I questioned God, and then it kind of just threw me off. And now I'm in a position where I actually don't know what I believe.
I know a lot of people like that, and I
don't know what I believe. That's quite sad.
You know what? Then I think a lot of people say to me like, how do you start a relationship with God, or what to do, and I get nervous because I'm aware of how personal and quite supernatural my introduction to God was. And I needed that because I was suffering so much. God needed something that was the opposite of what I knew at that time to knock my socks off. Some people, that wouldn't have bothered them because they feel love all the time. They feel this feeling all the time, this accepted, safe feeling. I didn't know it. So to feel that, I knew. But away from that, I would always say, like, you know, if you don't know if God's real,
I don't know what happens when you die. Well, before I used to think like many different things. It's scary.
If you don't know I'd say if you don't know if God is real, then I'd say ask him. Just say, you know, Penny was talking, just as an example, anyone listening or you, Penny was talking about you earlier, and if what she's saying is real, can you show me that? That he'll answer. Done. Would never say no to that.
I'm scared.
Yeah, do it.
I'm scared to ask.
Or he's never going to go, nah, later. So there, you'll start to see, he'll show you. And then when you start to, or if you're a person who does believe in God, but doesn't have a relationship with God, or doesn't believe God is into them, just ask him a question and he'll reveal how there he is. So my question when someone challenged me with this was, how much do you love me?
I'm not challenging you.
Yeah, no, someone challenged me and said, when I said, how do I know God loves me? And they were like, ask him a question. Or how do I know God's real? Ask him a question and he'll answer it. So if you don't know if God's real, ask him a big question. And my one was, how much do you love me? And in the next 4 weeks, things happened, and everything that happened made me know how much God loved me. So ask him a big question. What have you got planned for me? How much do you love me? Are you here? Are you real? How do you speak to people? Ask him a big question, and over the next few days, weeks, months, he'll answer. And then you'll realise, oh my gosh, God is here.
And then you might be happy to wake up at 3:30 in the morning. Life, bro. I think you explained that beautifully, and I think it's such an important subject which people shy away from, and I think it's a good conversation to have.
It's a difficult one.
It is a difficult one. It's sensitive. It's like racism. Race, you know, it's a sensitive subject, and you have to sometimes be careful who you have a conversation with. And when you approach conversations like that, you have to have an open mind. Yeah. I'm fascinated by it all.
Especially with work, like, as well, with what we do. Like, when your goal is to help people, but you also, you know, love the Lord. It's like, are you a Christian? Are you approaching us as a Christian? And it's like, no, at work, you can't go and say, like, hi, I'm coming to your school as a Christian speaker, unless the school invites you to do that. Yeah, but what you do as just a human, it's not like, it's just, in everything you do, you just give the love of God. Do you know what I mean? What you want to help people, that you do that. You want to encourage people. You want to give people hope. You know, you just do what would show God's love, basically. You don't have to force people, oh yeah, you can't have this unless you have God. It's you show them God through your actions. Do you know what I mean? You show them that love. So that's that.
Number 2. Jesus is number 1, sat at the table.
Oh, at the table. Probably my mum, because I just want to tell her that I understand, because I think when she passed, there was a lot of bitterness I held in, like, how could this lifestyle be so important that you put your,
understandable.
And I think because I was upset and I hated feeling upset, anything that made me feel scared or upset, I'd swap it into anger. So I think because I didn't want to think about what I'd lost, I just thought about the offence and, oh no, and probably the way I thought people were looking at her. I kind of thought about that so much, like telling people that your mum had died of a heroin overdose, you're scared that they're not going to honour the amazing woman she was, and they're going to be like, oh, a druggie. So you don't want to tell anyone, you have all these things, and then after a while you start just feeling it in your head, like you not believing it, but that's your narrative to protect you from feeling sad. Yep. And so I'd just wanna, I've apologized out loud and just like kind of, and I've got rid of them feelings, but I just would love to just sit with her and tell her what I understand and comfort her. And
wow, that'd be powerful.
Don't make me cry. Not on it.
No, but that's deep, man. Like that's, once again, you should be proud of yourself. So number 3, at the table we got Jesus, we got your mum.
My mum, and who's funny and can make us all laugh?
I know this guy Cameron Parker is pretty funny.
So you know him?
The guy you got up for this morning.
Never heard of it.
I actually don't. There's probably loads of people, but because it's such a, you've made it down to 3, I'm now like, I don't know. Who do I?
Because you got a strong 2 as well.
Yeah, I know. That is just loads of love, innit? Loads of love in there. I don't know. I don't know.
All right, no worries.
It's hard. I'll have someone come up, because now I'm thinking about someone that I actually want to hear his perspective. There's so many greats out there, innit? And now I've only got one. It's like, wish I could have a little combo.
What's your relationship with your foster parents?
Lovely.
So you still...
Yeah, that's my family.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my family. I don't, only for talks where I need to differentiate, I say foster, but that's my family. They're my sisters. That's my dad. That's my family. Like, yeah.
That's incredible.
We don't use the word foster.
No.
Yeah. But like for this, yeah, cool. But when my mum died, they adopted me straight away. They didn't want me being in that.
They stopped you.
Yeah, they stopped being a foster carer. So they stopped getting paid to look after me.
Love yours.
Innit?
So where can people find you? Where are you on
Instagram? In the club, bottle full of bud. No, I'm joking.
Edit.
To find me in my office. No, I'm joking. Instagram. Yeah?
Instagram's the main one?
Yeah, I'm updating my LinkedIn. So yeah, by the time this is all done,
yeah, cool.
I'll have an updated LinkedIn. But yeah, it's Penny Jarrett or Penny Bell.
Okay, and what we'll do, we'll also put all your information in the description. But I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, honestly, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for being vulnerable. Thank you for being open, honest, and sharing the truth and what you're doing.
Thank you for opening up this kind of conversation.
No, but it's good.
Me.
Like, I could take it one way or the other, and it could be like, do we just not even? And I think Dave's got on my case a little bit about it, and he's like, sometimes you just touch the surface and we want to hear a bit more. And I think today
I'm glad I was your guinea pig, because I think this has been very healing for me.
Yeah, but it's like, it's just, but hopefully you can share it with people, and there's things you can take away. And I believe that we'll do many of these different podcasts between us. I think this is a start. I also think that there's some work we can do together.
We've got 80 topics in here that we could dissect.
You really, really can. And I think we'll do some work together as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can help you get in some schools. I think like it is needed.
So
and
much.
That's not an empty promise. Let's literally have a conversation and let's get it done.
Thank you.
All right?
I appreciate you.
With that said, guys, that was pretty deep, wasn't it?
Intense.
It was intense. I was lost for words in many different, speechless, and that's a good thing. And I want to bring these podcasts across as being open, honest, and being raw, just being real, because that is the truth. There is in our industry, life coaching, motivational speaking, there is people just saying stuff to say stuff. But when you actually see the pain, then the purpose, and all of it was driving the reason why I do what I do, what you do, it is so important and so necessary. And that's what the Dreams to Reality podcast is really all about. So I'm going to wrap it up as I normally wrap it up. I just want to say thank you to obviously Gadget Line for making this happen. I do appreciate you, but also remember that you can either have excuses or you can have results, but you cannot have both. And if you want to start loving yourself and loving your brain a bit more, then do check out Penny, because it's worth it. Anyway, guys, Cameron, I'm out. Peace. And this is the double C, right? The double C, and I call it challenge and competition. Majority of us love a challenge. That's the reason